Alrighty, I have a lot to talk about today. It's kind of a part 2 of my previous video where I talked about, self-discipline and the like. And, things are going pretty well. I have gotten a lot better about waking up earlier, working more, working more. I've worked a little bit more, and also, but I've been better about editing and doing all that stuff. However, I've realized that going into things without a game plan can get tricky, and you're, like I said in the previous video, you're a lot more likely to fall off. And also I was looking at some video of myself from about 2 to 3 months ago where I was consistently working out, eating healthy, and I just looked way better. And that was depressing. I had more hair because I was on the ball about, my hair medication because I'm dying and balding. So I had fuller hair, thinner face. I had a nice haircut that was all trimmed and tight. And I just looked better. And I remember how I felt then. I felt better too. And so it was kind of depressing. I was like, damn, you fell off. You were going so well. And that was only after 1 month. And I remember talking to my cousins who are kind of like my accountability buddies. Shout out Val, Cece, and Natalie. And I remember telling them back then, I was like, God, I'm a month into it. I'm not seeing the progress that I want to be seeing. And looking back on it, I'm like, damn, I look great. I don't know what the fuck I was talking about. Still not where I wanted to be, obviously. It was 1 month. But it shows you how looking outside of yourself, you can, after dedication, you can see the progress. But when you're in it, it's kind of hard to see the forest through the trees, or whatever the fucking expression is. So I've got this challenge for myself. And also, these videos I'm making right now, they're more me talking to myself than talking to any imagined viewers. But the challenge is, it's a 30, 60, 90 challenge. Basically, first 30 days, 60 days, then 90 days. And I've outlined various things that I think will make my life better and how to go about doing those things. And really, it's a day-by-day thing, and then week-by-week, and then month-by-month thing. Because when you set too long of a goal without intermediate goals, it's easy to get lost. So here's a basic outline of what I think it takes for a man, but just a person, to be on the ball about every aspect in his life, or most aspects in his life. Wake up on time, instantly do all your hygiene work, brushing your teeth. For me, it's my fucking hair medication, which I'm not always great about. Showering, all the basic stuff. Which is important because on a day-to-day basis, it affects how you feel and how you look and how you present. And how you present affects how people perceive you, and how people perceive you also, in effect, affects how you feel about yourself. So after that, after you're ready for the day, make a to-do list. And then edit. I have a lot of editing work that I have to do. Practice, which is, for me, it's piano and drums, which is what I'm trying to. Drums I'm trying to relearn. Piano I'm trying to learn for the first time. After that, it's go to work. Then from there, it's go to the gym and work out. After that, it's more edit. Then night hygiene, which I'm not as good about. I think a lot of primarily men, women are very good about their nighttime skin routine and all that, which is another thing that I meant to include in hygiene. And men aren't as much. Or maybe it's just me and I'm just a fucking scrub. But I need to prioritize my nighttime hygiene routine, which is brushing your teeth, skincare routine, applying my hair medication because I'm supposed to do it twice a day and I don't always do that. And then lastly, going to sleep on time. Which is probably one of the most important aspects because that dictates how likely you are to wake up on time, which dictates the rest of your fucking day. So, as recommended by my good friend Hector, shout out Hector, I made note cards and outlines of topics I want to talk about today, which relates to what I want to talk about. Number one, waking up on time and waking up early. As I said in the last video, the earlier you wake up, the more time you have in the day. It's as simple as that. It sounds on the nose and fucking obvious, but the older I get, the more I feel like I don't have enough time in each day. And I can easily resolve that by doing two things. One, waking up earlier, and two, going to bed earlier, because a lot of the time I spend at night, and again, this is something I said in a previous video, a lot of the time I spend at night in my bed is just doom scrolling on Instagram or social media, or watching bullshit TV, South Park, which I fucking love, Family Guy, whatever, and it's just like 2 hours of that, 2.5 hours of that, until I go to bed. And that's not productive. And so what if I just went to sleep at that time? And, you know, if I did that, I'd be much more likely to wake up earlier. And then, you know, that right there, you instantly have so much more, 2 to 3 hours in your day that you didn't have. And those 2 to 3 hours every day, let's say it's 2 hours, that's 14 hours a week, 24, 48, that's over a full week's worth of work, of a full-time shift that you have extra. And how much can you get done with that? So much more. So on to number 2, hygiene. Jordan Peterson once said something it was along the lines of, your life isn't all the big moments in your life. It's all the little things and little periods of time in your life that lead up to those big moments. So one analogy is, you know, graduating from high school or college is this big moment, but you wouldn't be able to get there without the individual nights of studying and preparing and doing the work. And graduation is one day, one few set of hours in one single day in your life. The ability to get there is countless hours of work and preparation to even get there. So what's more important, that one day or all the days that it took to get there? And so the reason for that analogy is when it comes to hygiene, which I'll include working out in that, you know, brushing your teeth. If you brush once a week, your teeth are going to be raunchy. But if you brush twice a day, 2 to 3 times a day, flossing, over time, your teeth will be immaculate. Same goes for your skincare routine. And same goes for, you know, keeping up with your haircut and all that stuff. And all of that affects how you feel about yourself, which affects how you present yourself. So that's all very important. And the underlying theme with all of these things I'm touching on is consistency, which is my biggest weakness. Discipline and consistency are my 2 biggest weaknesses. And they're the biggest factor often when it comes to getting out of your own way. So moving on to number 3, to-do lists. I recently did a podcast with one of my favorite people, one of the people that I look up to most in the creative space, and just as a person, he's a cool dude. I did one with Michael Gribben. And one thing he said to me is that he's a big fan of to-do lists because it helps him prioritize and set out what he needs to get done in a day. And then I also produced a podcast with the woman that she said, I love to do this so much, sometimes I'll just write the simple things like get up, brush my teeth, take a shower. So she has things to check off her list. And, you know, that's kind of it. To-do lists are important because it lets you know what needs to get done, what you've gotten done, and gives you a sense of accomplishment. And over time, if you look back at those, you have a ledger on everything that you've gotten accomplished in the past, you know. And so, After you're done with all of the hygiene work and waking up on time, setting a to-do list for your day. And also, I think it's important to, which I'll get to in the next set, it's important to also set a meal plan list and a workout list. Write out what you're going to eat for the day and write out your workout for the day. Because when you don't have a plan in place for what you're going to eat, you're more likely to reach for McDonald's or fast food or eat whatever is lying around in your fridge. Whereas if you plan it out, you're more likely to stick to it, and you can actually plan what you're going to eat and the calorie content and the health content. Same goes for your workout. A lot of the times if I go into the gym without a plan, I'm much more likely to take it easy and not do what needs to get done. So to-do lists really help you figure out what needs to get done and helps you achieve those goals. So I'm just rapid firing through these because I don't know how long this video should be. Next on my list is editing. For you, may be something else, but editing content and creating content is something that is very important to me. It's becoming increasingly important to me as I get more and more into it. But I have to set time to do this. And luckily I have a job where I get to choose my work schedule. And so my day may look a little bit different than yours. But yeah, it takes a lot of work and discipline and consistency to create quality content, which I can't honestly say I've created quality content, but I'm doing my best. God damn. But it's a grind. It's a super fucking grind to record things, find guests, edit things. Editing takes the most time. And so I really have to allot, a solid 4 to 5 hours every single day to get it done. And, when it's something that you love doing, it doesn't feel like work, which is why I have, as you'll see, it 2 times on my schedule throughout the day. And so, yeah, that's number 4 for me. Number 5. I think it's important to have hobbies and to learn new skills, and that to get better at those things is easier said than done. And it often takes, much like how I said the analogy about graduation and Jordan Peterson's quote about how it's the little day-to-day things that make up your life, not the big moments. It's the same with learning a new skill. Piano, which is what I'm trying to learn right now, and I'm trying to relearn drums. It's an everyday thing. You have to daily try to get better and better. And I recently purchased, or actually it was a free piano. I recently got a piano, and when I got it, I was super stoked and I was very consistent about learning. But as many of my family and friends will know, my enthusiasm wanes, and I kind of have to force myself to stay committed. And much like working out, I find that it goes in waves, and that there will be periods of peak interest and disinterest. And if you just ride through those things, you'll stay interested. And it's just like how people talk about how long distance running, they'll say that, like somebody like Cameron Haynes will say that he'll be in the run, he'll be going really well, and then he'll feel exhausted. But if he just pushes through that, he gets a surge of energy, and it's enough to push through. And then maybe that'll happen again where he feels weaker and tired. But if he just pushes through that, there's always that resurgence. So I think the same can be said about any interests that you have, where it's, if you're trying to get better at something, you just have to stick to it. Pause. My cousin just called, so I don't really know where I left off. But in terms of, learning a new hobby or a new skill, it does take a lot of daily practice and discipline, and you have to want to do it. But it does help you in other areas of your life. It's kind of hard to pinpoint exactly what those other areas are, but God damn it, Natalie, you threw me off track. I was doing so well. So I'm setting aside an hour a day, which, you can take out of those 2.5 hours that I'm gaining from going to sleep and waking up on time. So that's number 5. Number 6, my least favorite, work. Working sucks, man. I fucking hate it. I've always hated it. I fucking hate working, which is why I eventually want to make my passions my job. But until then, you got to kind of fucking eat nails and just do the thing. You know, when you're approaching 30, you know, you have responsibilities. You have bills to pay. You have a mortgage or rent to pay. And so you just kind of, have to fucking take it and get it done and do the job you don't want to do until you can do the job you do want to do. So part of this 30, 60, 90 challenge is for the first 30 days, I'm going to work 30 days in a row, which I have the control, like I said, of choosing my own schedule. So not missing a single day. And, you know, some things to keep in mind is that when setting a challenge like this for yourself, it's not about perfection because you're not going to be perfect. I'm not going to be perfect. But striving for perfection makes it more likely to do as close as you can to your best. So don't expect perfection, but strive for it is the advice I would give to myself. Number 7, working out. Probably one of the more important things. Like I said in the previous steps, you have to go into working out with a plan. Because if you go into it without one, you're probably not going to do your best. You're not going to work your hardest. You're not going to work the muscle groups that you need to do. And another thing about it, which again is one of my biggest weaknesses, is consistency. I may or may not include photos of what I looked like when I was being consistent, but there was night and day. I didn't feel it at the time. I love the phrase, which is thrown around so often, but it's trust the process. Because that's something you kind of have to hold on to when you don't feel like you're making as much headway as you'd like. You just really have, and that's with anything. That's with learning piano. That's with saving money. That's with working out. Accomplishing any goals you have. You just have to trust the process and show up for yourself every day. That's the only. It's so cheesy and corny, but it's true. Just showing up for yourself and putting in the work and getting out of your own way. And so, that's working out. Number 8 on the list after I get my workout in for the day is more editing. Because like I said, editing is a lot of work, and I'm doing work for myself, another podcast. I'm trying to be more consistent about my uploads here. I'm also starting a new Spanish-English podcast that I'm doing with friends and family because I'm trying to learn Spanish before I go to El Salvador again. Which, again, learning a new language takes discipline and consistency, and it's fucking hard. So that I have editing on the list again, but editing is the number one thing I look forward to. You may notice that on here that I don't list any time for like free time and hanging out with friends and doing all that stuff, but although I do enjoy those things and I'll include those things naturally, editing and recording and making content, that's the number one thing I enjoy in my life. It's what I look forward to. So I don't mind having it twice on my list and, multiple hours a day. Number 9, hygiene round 2. Again, for a lot of men, things like skincare routine and, nails, which I recently I recorded a podcast for a client, and the guest on that podcast, he had immaculate nails. And I was like, what the fuck? My nails look insane compared to his. And it's just something as like dudes we don't really think about as much, but it made a difference on this guy. This guy, like, his nails were immaculate, and I was like, okay, I see you. But like I said, my hair medication, I even hate talking about the fact that I'm fucking balding, but I'm getting old, I'm dying. It takes 2 applications a day, and it's done a good job. And I've only ever done it 1 time a day. So But I've noticed that the effects are kind of waning. So what would it look like if I did it twice a day? And taking medications, I take antidepressants and and pills and a rub-on thing. And so I think your nighttime hygiene is equally as important as your daytime hygiene, which includes brushing your teeth. Not everybody's good at brushing their teeth twice a day. And, you know, that nighttime hygiene, skincare, dental routine, whatever, it sets the tone for, you know, you're winding down for the night. And so, yeah, I think it's important. Number 10, and the most important item on the list. It should be number 1, but it comes last in the day. So, sleep. Going to bed at a reasonable hour, at an early hour, dictates whether or not you're going to wake up early in the morning. And that dictates how much you're able to get accomplished in that day. So I have a habit of getting into bed around 10:30, 11, and then watching garbage TV for 2.5 hours. Maybe longer sometimes. Sometimes I'll stay up till 2 in the morning and just fucking watch bullshit. One sec. And that's just not a productive use of your time. It's so one trick that I'm going to try to implement is going to bed earlier and then giving myself an allotted amount of time, say 40 minutes to an hour, to watch whatever you want, and then go to bed. Just flat out shut everything off, close your eyes, even if you're not exactly sleepy, and just go to sleep. And again, it's like waking up early is it's hard for me. Even today, I set a goal for 6 o'clock. I didn't wake up till 7:30. I hit snooze expecting, you know, I'll take another 10, 15 minutes. And then I woke up a half hour later and I was like, fuck, well, I'm still tired. I'm going to take another 10, 15 minutes. And then all of a sudden it's 7:30. Which is still better. If you watch my last video, it's an improvement over, you know, 9:30, 10, which is what I was doing for a solid 3 weeks. But there's more room for improvement. And that's another thing. It's like in starting a goal like this, and again, I'm talking to myself as much as anybody else, or more than anybody else. It's okay to not be exactly perfect right from the jump. But any incremental change on a daily basis is, you know, worth a pat on the back. So, you know, right now I'm waking up around 7:30. That's good, but I could be better. So the target goal is 6 a.m. One thing that's, you know, a bit uncomfortable for me to talk about, but, you know, whatever, is the concept of dating in your mid to late 20s. You know, I've put it off in recent years because I just haven't felt confident in myself. I gained a lot of weight. I didn't have a lot of prospects in terms of finances, and, you know, I didn't own a house yet, and I just didn't feel good about myself, and I still really don't. But, you know, a romantic life and a potential familial life is an important part of growing up, of a well-rounded, fully lived human life. And so, you know, like anything else, it's something you got to work on. And so to get better about that, I do have to work on myself. And that, you know, consists of all the things like managing your finances, managing your health, feeling as good as possible and as confident as you can, sitting upright. And, you know, to do all those things, it takes discipline and consistency. And like a lot of things in my life, like most things in my life, there's peak interest at the start, and then it just declines until it's non-existent, which is the whole reason behind this whole challenge for myself. And yeah, we'll see how it goes. I have taken before photos. I was not happy. It wasn't great. But, you know, it is what it is. You can't be... You don't really have any control of your starting point when it comes to things like this. You are where you are. You just have to see where you could be in the near to long-term future and do everything you can to get there. One example I had is like Zelda. There's a Dark Link that you have to battle. And it's kind of a deep fucking analogy. It's like there's two versions of you at battle at any given moment. There's the weak version of you who gives into his vices, isn't disciplined, doesn't work hard. And that is alluring because it's the easy route. Or there's the potential you, which is the hardworking, disciplined, principled version of yourself. And they're at odds with each other at any given moment. And the thing is to not let the other one win as much. And to every single day choose to improve yourself. So I'm going to give it a week, and then 30 days, and then 90 days, 60 to 90 days. And I'm going to check in every week and let you guys know how I'm doing. Oh, another thing I was going to think is the smoking thing. That's a whole nother thing. Today was hopefully my last day. Smoking, we'll see how it goes. It's when the craving hits, it hits. And, you know, that's the real test of your willpower. It's going to be hard to see if I can stick with it. But this at least helps me. It helps me, you know, feel like I have somebody to report to, even if it's myself. So yeah, I took before and after, or before photos. We'll take after photos once a month. We'll see how it is in the 90 days. And I'm going to take before photos of my teeth, my hair, my body. And I'll also document my mental state, see how I'm doing in these, you know, 30, 60, 90 days. And yeah, I hope this was interesting or helpful, at least interesting, at least helpful. I don't know. But yeah, thanks for watching, guys. And I'll see you next time.